Mirage to get through before Inferno's on the horizon, but Art's aggression as we were anticipating, and wouldn't you know it, Luminosity was sat there waiting for him, and they are going to claim first blood on Vertigo. There is another rotation though in the form of Yuri, who's trying to get round the back of them towards T-spawn. Bomb is going to be planted in amongst the ruckus. Still some flashbangs for Luminosity. I feel like flashbangs in terms of the hierarchy of grenades are so huge on this map, especially. Yeah. So many pop flash angles, like you're seeing here from Yuri's perspective, as he tries to funnel his way back through the T side. There is a kit and a smoke for Able J. If he can get up close enough, Yuri and Vinny. Vinny's gone in for a second. Gonna send him cartwheeling off the side of the skyscraper. And now Phelps, 1 on 3. USP in hand, can his side arm guide him to victory? The first shot is his, but everything else goes the way of FURIA. They're going to claim the first blood overall in rounds. Surprising considering how quickly Luminosity got onto the site. Yeah, and that retake took a long time to really take shape there for FURIA. But once they get going, immediate 3 kills to their name, and with no response from Luminosity, it's everything up a river. Luminosity nearly fighting back, I guess, with Phelps doing his damnedest, but 3 kills not enough to net them a golden start here on Vertigo. Also curious to see, obviously we haven't seen enough of the map to really establish whether or not, you know, it's going to be CT-sided, T-sided, if it's dependent on the teams that we're, you know, currently on the server and so on. I think in most cases it would lean towards being a T-sided map, at least in Europe, where we saw a lot of the focus being put on that A-bomb site. But I still think it could be very wishy-washy and very team-dependent any given day, but it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Luminosity have anything to offer up here on their T side. It is a hard one to call in terms of which side it is. I feel like before the change to A site, where you had there used to be like the full-on wooden wall, yep. It was pretty brutal for the CTs to cover that because a couple of well-placed flashbangs and smokes, and you're pretty much on there from a terrorist. They also pushed the bomb plant spot back a little bit, I think, yeah, which helps the CTs as well. But up in construction is Steel on the yellow. Player behind the sandbag is going to be Vinny. He's about to get forced back from the Molotov. Out into the open, and Luminosity going to claim the first 2 kills. I've been able to actually spread FURIA rather thin. That's a nice adjustment from Nekis as well. So Phelps finding the opening over towards B, and Steel, as we saw, flushing out Vinny. Gives them a golden opportunity to get the bomb plant down, and retakes, I mean, as much of a challenge it could be to get onto a site for T sometimes, it's equally hard for CTs to retake here, especially over towards this A-bomb site. Yuri going to catch Phelps, who was looking for the flank through the B side of the door. And it will be a save. FURIA want to hold on to their AK and M4 and healthy amount of nades. Smoke drop down as well to deter anyone from Luminosity to go hunting. At this stage, though, it's a little bit early on for Luminosity to really throw away too many weapons. They want to make sure that they have a healthy buy going into round number 4. There we have it. Successful take. Luminosity just getting the right picks at the right time to really spread FURIA a little bit too thin on the board already. And that's a good sign for them. Again, I would be really worried for Luminosity if they end well, start off the game by going down, you know, 0-5, 0-6. Not really getting in a solid idea of how they want to play their T side. Just getting rounds early on the board lets you know that might be competitive here. Yeah, and it keeps FURIA honest as well, because now they have to be very careful with their economy. They are down into the doldrums of having $1,000 at most on Able J. A couple of SMGs also purchased. Vinny going to get smoked out. This is the wall that we were talking about before. You can, of course, get up there from the T's perspective off the box. It does add an extra layer of difficulty, though, while holding the site, too. Vinny with an MP5 from that kind of range, that could be difficult to get a lot of damage in. Seems like this is going to be the default that Luminosity are working out with Phelps over towards that B-bomb side as a lone wolf. Seeing what he can do to keep them honest. And this is very typical for the Vertigo that I know. Spamming through the wall for solid 30 seconds and then slowly eking up. Yeah, but with that pressure, it has allowed and afforded Steel a chance to push through with his AK. Just edging around from the ledge of the crane. Now on the boost boxes, Vinny waiting with this MP5. We've seen him use this a few times already today. Pretty damn good with it. Yuri's gone down, though, going looking for information. It's going to cost him his life. And the bomb is traversing towards the B side. Yorp betraying Art. Just protruding around the corner beforehand. Vinny goes aggro mid-air. And Phelps will swat him away. Luminosity 2 on the bounce, and FURIA will be broken.
Now, once again, it's Phelps that kind of gets Luminosity out of a bit of a pinch. You could tell they were not confident in actually committing to that A bomb site. They were just sitting there on the ramp, spamming through the wall for the majority of the time. It was only really Steel that actually moved forward. But Phelps finding one frag over towards the B bomb site, tagging up the Opera as well. Allows them to make the rotation back. And as you can see, Henny already just finishing off heavily damaged player to secure the bomb site. This time, new approach. Phelps gets some backup. It is versus an eco. So that's probably why you're seeing Luminosity actually double up on this. They don't want to let Phelps die and potentially give away a weapon.
Yeah, Molotoving on the mid jump as well, just to make sure that Able J, who's already shown that he's happy enough to take that angle, is deterred and has to back away.
And, I mean, Luminosity are trying to take over 2 bomb sites at the same time here. Steel and Nekis are going to be successful in grabbing B. Bomb is still dropped in spawn. They just want to make sure that they have everything under control before they commit to anything at all. Bolts still peering out here towards B, where the 2 last remaining players are.
This could get sketchy for Luminosity.
They're still fighting, and they're not hitting a single shot. Phelps not going to be able to see Able J through, but eventually finds Yuri and Able J to close out the round. So Luminosity in the lead for the first time.
Yeah, it's a nasty little angle below the staircase towards B. You can actually look up through the girders and see on the left-hand side where a lot of CTs will play and try and hold it off.
I think it's a little bit dependent on how far forward they are, whether or not you can actually see something or whether or not you're just chancing it pretty much.
If you're at the back corner, you can't really be seen, but if you're up close, you can.
Yeah. Phelps once again off the hot start. 8 frags. Talked about him as being the shining light of this tournament so far. Looks to want to keep that up. Now, finally, a bit of pushback here from FURIA. Steel goes down. Same thing with Neki is over towards the B bomb site. So it's not going to be a double site take from Luminosity. They're just going to commit directly to B off of this.
Phelps to spot himself and Wild Art, but he's going to be on the receiving end of a battering, and FURIA looking to bounce back with authority. They've lost 3 in a row. Bolts, however, has Art's number. 2 AKs still in play, although Bolts is low. Henny's now been finished off. 19 health separates Luminosity and conceding a 3rd round. Bomb not under control just of now, but will be momentarily. Able J probably should have just finished this round outright, but instead, Bolts is getting 2 kills. This round is now open for debate. It's back on the table. Bolts has no right to be in this position. And Vinny will silence him, but the damage he did economically there was massive.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the rebuy that they're going to look at from the side of FURIA, right? I don't think anyone was over 4K at that stage for FURIA, and Luminosity should have no problem purchasing up into this. Odds from GG.bet, heavily favoring FURIA, and I think most people would, especially for Vertigo as well.
Yeah.
But man, that's not a great rebuy. I mean, you get a ton of utility, which is great, but 3 SMGs versus majority AKs and an op on Henny could be really tough.
I feel like for Vertigo, though, this buy isn't necessarily as bad as if we were looking like a Dust 2 or a Mirage because of how many close angles there are.
That
and
is
as you
true.
say, utility is so vitally important on this map. I mean, it isn't every map, but especially when you consider how many choke points there are and stalling these aggressive pushes. Vinny up on the boxes, gonna claim the kill with one of the few rifles that they have with the AUG.
3-man boost as well for Kisarada. Doesn't net them a kill. Still, the UMP is going to be able to do work. They're still falling, and rapidly everything's deteriorating. Vinny continues to push through together with Yuri. Just like that, it's Phelps all by his lonesome, and he's been hanging over towards by the B bomb side. This time he's in mid. 2 players that are tagged up as well. Like the position you could see Art playing right now, it's hard to kind of assume that anyone's going to be in these kind of angles.
Yeah, I mean, it is a terrifying prospect as the last player alive pushing through mid. There are so many angles and elements of verticality that you have to be cognizant of, such as that position that you just highlighted. But Phelps has actually moved to the left-hand side instead, and Able J gets Phelps on the cross. He just had too many angles to be concerned about. So FURIA back into winning ways, and Luminosity will have a decision to make. Phelps and Henny could buy, but the rest of them are pretty much broken down themselves.
Yeah. It's going to be a couple of deagles dropped, and that's about it. Phelps, Bolts investing into some armor as well. Not going to prevent them from buying up in the following round as well, so that's a good thing. Let's see, one flash, one smoke. I'm assuming that's going to go heading over towards the A site, as it's normally done when Henny throws the nades. Actually, no, it's going to land into mid. Okay, so trying to section everything off, but J is in front of it. Deals nicely with Henny and Nekis at least, and Yuri's going to find the tagged up Bolts as well.
Yeah, nice shot there, partially through the wall until weakened Bolts finishes him off outright. Yuri also in a position where he can quickly scamper across into the very position that Phelps is looking at on the jump spot.
That's a really hard angle to clear out as well if you're the CD side coming in there. It's hard to spot Phelps under the staircase.
Oh, what a shot that is. That's going to send a shiver down the spine of FURIA. A Desert Eagle in the hands of Phelps is quite the formidable opponent. He did land the shot onto Queserato, but it wasn't a headshot, so therefore only 50% of his health or thereabouts was disintegrated rather than a full 100. Steel. Oh, that grenade. I thought it was going to do more damage.
Just not going far enough. Steel can get one kill here. He saw an arm on Queserato. One kill there would have been a pretty nice get for Luminosity given the investment. Just making sure that the economy on the side of FURIA is getting kept at a rather low point. Well, double ops coming out. I mean, we talked about it. Double op setups on Vertigo, not necessarily something you'd expect too much of, but FURIA might show us wrong. Art and Yuri going to be the ones to don it.
I do wonder where they're both going to go. I'm very interested.
I would imagine they split up on each side.
Yeah, so one's middle. That's going to be Yuri. And they're just sending Art by himself to fend off B. J meets an early demise.
What a peak is that?
And how Phelps goes in, and Art's been bested. This round is falling to pieces. It's falling apart completely now. This CT's are hemorrhaging kills. Solid shot by Yuri as Phelps tries a bit too hard to make his impact felt. But the bomb is already transitioning onto the A site and will be planted by Henny.
Yuri in this situation, though. It's hard to really justify going for this kind of a retake, though. It's actually just not going to even have a chance to start it. Steel comes running around from I guess the side halls of A. Double offset of not working out. The peak from Art just seemed super awkward, taking that duel versus Phelps. It's like halfway showing his body, never actually fully getting into cover before he re-peaks, just committing to it fully. Phelps is not going to miss many opportunities like that.
Yeah, I think the B site of Vertigo actually got impacted pretty heavily by the AUG nerfs. Because beforehand, you could kind of watch it single-handed with an AUG.
Yeah, just peer down, get some...
Basically what he was trying to do there with an AUG.
Yeah.
And you can still be versatile enough to rotate if you want with the AUG. So it does make it an interesting dent into how Vertigo is played. Molotovs and smokes being expended through mid from both teams. Solid flashbang.
And Luminosity for a team that has... Ooh. Nice awareness there from Nekis. For a team that hasn't really played a whole lot of Vertigo, and for like a team that's actually been banning it out quite often, right? They have definitely done their homework in terms of looking up nades and figuring out how to get control over various parts of the map. J, secondary boost up on the box, going to catch Nekis. Well, though, this is something they've been really good at, actually, putting on multiple pressure points across the map. Steel is just continuing on with the aggression. This is really nice, actually, because Phelps has been doing such a good job over towards B, keeping honest there. This time it's mid that's being the secondary pressure point with Nekis leading the charge, which allows Steel to just have a thinned-out defense over on A that he can, work the angles for, and he's doing a really good job of it. As you can see here, the scoreboard, Phelps and Steel leading the way.
The thing is with Vertigo, yes, it's 5-5, and on most maps this would be a bit of a catastrophe building up with FURIA on low economy, but the T side can do so much damage on this map. So if FURIA can just keep themselves close, when the roles reverse, we could be seeing quite a different outcome.
Well, again, finding a lot of success with their initial picks. It seems like Phelps just can do no wrong over that or towards that B bomb site. Obviously, this is against Pistol, so you should expect them to win out these duels, but this is as clean as it gets for Luminosity, and they've already built up a bit of bank here, so they're going to be looking pretty dandy for the rest of the half, actually.
I was just about to say, I wonder when we're going to see the first timeout call, because we're getting to that point where FURIA, if they continue to concede, will be 10-5 behind.
Yeah.
Their economy's in pretty poor shape again. So I think this was the perfect time to call a timeout. And we're going to have to see how they bridge the gap, because to me, there hasn't been anything that's really glaringly obvious that's at fault on their CT side. They're just getting picked off one by one.
Yeah, and I think that's really the key, right? Now you need to start winning duels. You need to start to be able to tame Phelps over towards the B bomb site, because you can't allow Art to be there alone if he's constantly losing out the duel to Phelps. It allows you to constantly have the fear of being flanked in the back of your mind. You need to deal with that in some way, shape, or form. But again, if you stack up more players over towards B, Steel gets more room to wiggle about over towards A.
The thing is, if you're going to play one player on B, you need to make sure you have two players aggressively controlling mid. Somebody up on the jump spot next to the sandbags.
Get a return in, yeah.
Exactly. So you have a quick retreat, you have a quick rotation if you need it. Let's see, they're not going to be stacking one player this time. Well, stacking two players, I should say, this time on B.
This time they've gone for a different approach. Well, last force buy we saw at FURIA, that was with a lot of SMGs, but focused on utility. This time they've gone by the wayside when it comes to utility. Focused on the weapons instead, and it's still not going to work out. Steel this time over towards the B bomb site to find an opening. Phelps far up. I think to land the shots initially. Actually, he's going to lose out the duel to Able J. A nice find from Yuri through the smoke.
Doing a really good job of holding this off, but Nekis with a pre-fire on the generators claims Able J's life for his. And he will continue to reap as many kills as possible. The bomb still hasn't been planted. Still a minute to play with. Such is the nature of Vertigo. It's a rapid map.
I get nervous when I see players like Henny, or where Henny goes up on the rafters.
That's the bomb.
A little grit.
That's the bomb drop. That's a horrible spot for it to drop in as well. Vinny gonna come out clutch with one kill. Can he go one better? Henny, one bullet anywhere on him and he's a dead man, but he has the AWP. Trained into position. The downside for him, time now working against him. It was an ally, now it's an enemy. 30 seconds to go, but Vinny, he's gonna try and play the mind games. He's trying to play the long con. He's coming around the side to go to that jump spot from sandbags. He has just spotted Henny. He knows exactly where he is.
Does he want to make the sound cue, though? That's the big question.
He's probably waiting just to hear Henny tickle a bomb. He knows he can't go to the other bomb site at this stage. There's too much of a trek. He's going to go all in. Henny is looking for this kill. He's desperately trying to find it. Is he going to call that he's up on this spot? No. He's going back to the site, going to try that plant. So well played by Vinny.
Yeah.
Played it perfectly.
Managing to get the jump as well silently. So it doesn't give off any sound. Henny's not aware of what's going on. And as he said, that alley was time. It quickly became his enemy. That was well done by FURIA. It was looking really rough initially there. Still finding the first pick. I think if Phelps connects onto Able J, that's just a done round.
Yeah. And you saw what we were kind of talking about with the double stack in mid trying to take control, early aggression. There was 2 or 3 Molotovs were tossed in from Luminosity to deal with those positions.
Yeah.
So it made, basically, Art was playing alone.
I'm actually really surprised by how well of a T-side we've seen coming out from Luminosity, given the limited amount of official games they have on it. Steel finds one, but Vinny returns the favor, so still man advantage lies with FURIA.
The magic of the timeout. Suddenly they're winning all the duels across the map. Art chips in with an AWP kill. And our Bolt's going to try and use the ledge to his advantage. Vinny was there to lend his teammate of Able J a helping hand as he was getting tagged up. I think he pulled a flashbang or a Molotov out. Steel does have the bomb, but everything else is stacked against him.
It's going to go back towards mid. For now, rather passive setup really to deal with that. It's only Able J at the corner towards elevators. Only Steel has time to time to work with here. Doesn't need to rush towards a bomb site just yet.
Did we just catch a glimpse into Steel's future? The corpse on the ground. It's looking very likely. 35 seconds. Able J just shoulder peeking, trying to draw out some Firegate information. They found it. But such is the nature of Vertigo. A very quick rotation onto the B site where Art is residing. 7-6, FURIA regain the lead.
Very well done by FURIA. So they managed to stabilize here, back in the lead, yeah, as you mentioned. Still, though, money was built up pretty nicely on the side of Luminosity, so they're still going to get weapons in their hands. You can see 4 AKs is what they'll have to work with, in addition to the MAC-10 on Neckies. It's Zach's turn to prove his worth for the team. And again, not really that much of a change-up in terms of style or positioning or setups on the side of the CTs. It's more down to them winning out the duels this time around, more so than anything.
I will say that Luminosity have done a really good job of caging Art, not allowing him to go for these really aggressive plays. We saw him do it in the pistol round.
Yeah,
Since
and after
then,
that, he's
been subdued. He's been playing with the AWP, more of a stationary, static AWPer.
Yeah.
And so you've got to give credit to Luminosity for somewhat quenching that thirst that Art has for the blood, basically.
It really feels like Phelps has been a bit of a brick wall for Art to deal with. Whenever he's wanted to peer down towards the steps, it's been about half a second of his, well, half a second of worth of information in trade for certain death. Once again, Luminosity go back to the tried and true.
That's the spot we were talking about before with the girders. Not going to see anybody playing aggressive because, again, it's Art by himself, and he's playing more passively at the back of B side, just watching up the staircase.
And boost coming in once more from FURIA. Saw Quesarado playing this position earlier. A real movement, though, from Luminosity. They're waiting for someone to push aggressively on the side of FURIA.
It's a good boost, but it does leave them thinly spread elsewhere on the map.
Bolts is still tucked into, well, T-spawn, and he does have a smoke on him. That might be meant to land towards the gap opening in the wall.
But here's the worry with this boost, Ven. They're leaving mid completely open. And Luminosity have free reign of mid if they decide to choose it. That's going to be an issue.
I mean, they have Yuri with a FAMAS holding at the back corner again towards the elevators. That's really it. And it's pretty tough to deal with just a FAMAS, really, at that kind of a range.
Yeah, and it's very easy to smoke him or flash him out.
Yep.
30 seconds, though. Luminosity going to start to show their hand. Molotovs and smokes being tossed out. The bomb, though, is moving to B. They're trying to draw one of these two defenders, but they're hearing the footsteps. They're not falling for it. They're standing their ground, digging in deep. Art with a 2-for-1. And that is the round slipping away. Steel, try as he may, can't wind back time. 7 seconds to go. He's on the wrong side of the map. FURIA going to take an 8-6 lead. At least Steel is taking some players down with him, though, and making this costly.
Yeah, he's going to be able to hold on to his AK as well going into the last round of the first half. There you see a pretty different approach from FURIA's CT side on Vertigo specifically compared to their other maps. No over-rotation, and this is something Launders mentioned on the desk as well before we got into it. They don't over-rotate on Vertigo. They have been focused. Again, they actually take mid-control on their T side a lot more than most teams do. And it's kind of odd to see, especially with how short the rotation times are here, that they don't fall for that trap of immediately wanting to move over to a different site.
It's going to be aggression to finish off the half. Luminosity, pistols in hand, make a final rallying call on their terrorist side. But it has been somewhat dulled by Art, who is looking to flip the kill switch on this half.
Neckies managed to get around the corner, so he's going to get a bomb plant down. Oh, Phelps finds the right time as well.
Grenade was a little bit too late. Did kill Neckies, but not before he got the bomb planted. So now Luminosity don't have to worry about moving back onto the site. The downside is they're both pretty low.
They boosted Phelps up, though, and I don't think FURIA has any idea. Oh, actually, as I say that, Quesarado turns around.
There's no nade. Steel gonna go for the pre-fire through the smoke, anticipating that they were sticking the site, and now Vinny has to make a move. He does have a grenade, but Steel's played it perfectly, taking the AK and ramming it into the CTs, an 8-7 halftime score.
So as close as you can get, really, to end the first half. Very impressive stuff, really, from Luminosity. I mean, even though people might be thinking Vertigo is leaning towards being a T-sided map, just given the information that we had on them on Vertigo, the fact that they've been banding it out and so on, this is definitely an impressive start to the series.
Well, we'll see if Luminosity continue their winning ways when we come back after this very short break. Back to the skyscraper we go. Luminosity now going to be jumping onto the CT side, and let's see what FURIA have in store for their terrorist side, because I think they've got a few things up their sleeve here, Van.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
I mean, I've been pleasantly surprised out of what we've seen so far. It hasn't necessarily been the static, I guess, dreadful experience of watching Vertigo as I was imagining it would be. Luminosity actually bringing out quite a few tricks up their sleeve, which is cool to see, considering the limited amount of time they've had to practice together and how little they've played Vertigo just in total. So second half should be a bit of a treat, but then again, we did see some similar, I guess, events occurring in our first series of the day. United on Nuke, right?
Yeah.
Versus FURIA. Looked really good in the first half, then things kind of fell flat. So hopefully that's not the case for Luminosity here as we get going with the second half pistol. A lot of utility, actually, on the side of FURIA. A Molotov, 2 smokes, HE, and a flash. Right, the opposite, really, on the side of Luminosity. Mainly armor and a diffuse kit on steel.
But the 1 smoke as well can maybe put some presence down if the bomb does get planted. Of course, assuming it does. It's a 3-player stack on the site. Up on the box at the back room. Steel takes that grenade on the face. And Nekis has been nullified by Keserato. It's a position a lot of players will use, especially in pistol rounds, because of the USP range advantage. And a skirmish kicks off in amongst the smoke. Phelps is using that as his sanctuary, darting in and out. He's being a real pain in the ass, but he's been nipped away now. Yuri also chipping in with a kill of his own, leaving Henny in a 1-on-3. He's trying to rotate back towards yellow. Getting some tags across to Yuri. But at this stage, you have to feel like this pincer comes in. The 3-player stack from FURIA surely can repel this. They all peek him at the same time, and it's Vinny that gets the final kill.
Only thing better than a double peek is a triple peek, Vince.
It is a nightmare.
Yeah, not a whole lot Henny can do there. It was looking pretty interesting for time being there, with Phelps being able to dart in and out of the smoke. See if he can land a couple of kills. That would be really, really good.
A lethal game of peekaboo, but eventually he was on the receiving end of some bullets, and now Luminosity, they're going to force. They're not going to be playing anything passive about this, and pistols are very, very powerful in so many angles here. The same reason why SMGs are, I feel like, more valuable on this map as opposed to other ones.
I think that's definitely fair. Look at Vinny moving about here over towards the B-bomb side. Peers over the smoke as well to find Steel. Nice usage of the environment around him to give him a favorable angle.
Of course, the danger is that if you force up here and you lose, FURIA are on a fast track to double digits and can make it a whole lot worse. Henny had a chance, but it was fleeting at best, a glimmer, which has been snuffed out. And now Phelps and Nekis have a decision. Do they want to go for this, or do they want to save these guns and see if they can come back in the next round? Because if they lose them, they're going to have nothing to play with whatsoever.
Yeah, I think you're much better off trying to hold on to these weapons. And if FURIA want to come hunting, maybe you can grab yourself an additional rifle to boot. I'll just set up in the grimiest positions you can ever imagine. Abel is actually out and about. He's in mid here in the sandbags. If he decides to jump up on the boost, Phelps is going to be sitting there with a ZZ right below him. There's no doubt that FURIA will make it to double digits.
Yuri, the tightrope walker there on the fence.
I get nervous whenever I see players just moving on the absolute extremities of the map, simply because it's so easy to fall off.
The amount of times
somebody flashes you and you're just getting off to the wrong step, right?
I felt to my death so many times on this map. I am trash, though, to be fair. But,
I mean, we've seen multiple players actually die. I think it was Cold Zero who couldn't make the jump, you know, from I guess CT spawn over in towards the B-bomb site.
It's the one that Vinny did earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Phelps just swatted him in midair. Yeah, indeed. It can be a rough one. If you misjudge that, you are just falling to your death straight up.
It's pretty brutal. I mean, the old versions of Vertigo, for those who weren't aware, is still when it was a hostage map. You had the ability to jump outside of the top floor and swing in to the lower floor, which is, funnily enough, the CT spawn and the C spawn were on top of each other.
Yeah, you had this really weird room where you could boost a teammate up a ladder into this, like,
yes, that's very true. That you would just immediately end up on the A-bomb site. Or a hostage site, if you want to call it that.
So Molotov would absolutely ruin your day if you were trying to boost up, just destroy you.
It's gone through a couple of iterations, this map, and now it's going to be hard to find Steel to open things up. Keep in mind, this is still, Still an eco round for Luminosity. It's only the 2 saved weapons on Nekis and Phelps. One of them has been removed already.
As will Henny. He has been plucked out. Phelps gonna mount somewhat of a challenge, but that has been overcome by Art. 11-7 the score. Luminosity will have a buy. The question is, do they want an AWP? Because they can afford one on Phelps and Henny.
That is the big question. We did see FURIA attempt a double upset at once, and then quickly decided that that was not the play.
That's how you feel after landing that nade.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit back here and accept my fate.
And well, you've got your question answered, and he's going to opt in for an off. And he's had a rather quiet game, as you can see, 3-12. But maybe this is going to be the turnaround here if you can get a little bit creative with the op. He's going to be the sole defender, at least initially, over towards the A-bomb site. Does get Nekis to back him up.
I was going to say, you really don't want to be holding just one player on B. That is a death sentence. It doesn't matter how good you are. This is so hard to hold by yourself. You need backup.
Especially with all the nades that are available at disposal of FURIA. Spam's coming through. It's actually going to be Bolts to win out that duel initially. Nice shot from Henny.
That's why we said that his style of AWPing could be paramount for Luminosity on Vertigo. Takes a stray bullet and Molotov.
Yeah, that stray bullet actually prevents him from moving out of the Molotov. That's pretty brutal. Phelps will not get the drop on Able J. Does a significant amount of damage, but right now the numbers favoring FURIA. They've already gotten that in control. What they don't have is any bomb sites. Bolts finally downs Vinny.
Yeah, somewhat surprising peak there, though, Ven, because his teammates weren't there to get the avenging kill, so he just gives that away for free.
And even now, they're splitting up, right? Able J making a ton of noise over towards this bomb site. That's actually going to distract Bolts away from the actual target. Able J is really low on HP, though, so the likelihood of him surviving for a long amount of time is not that high. There we go. Down he goes. They're going to realize that the bomb is nowhere to be found as well. Now, 1v2 for Yuri. It's been so good for FURIA throughout this minor so far. He's going to need to step up again. Well, that's a dirty angle.
Completely catches Bolts unaware. Now it's down to Nekis. One-on-one. The aim duel kicks off. Nekis is always going to trail against Yuri, one of the star players of FURIA. And what a moment to step up that may be. It puts them on the fast track to winning this first map.
And that's where you can notice like familiarity with the map. Just getting into that angle behind the bomb boxes. Bolts was never expecting that in a million years.
And the thing is, when you come through, it's actually a really hard site to retake because there's close angles. You've got the generators to worry about, the back corner.
So many angles.
You could also be player towards the staircase up on the jump spot. Like it's actually crazy. So very well played. 12-7. Luminosity back into a half buy. Just throwing a little bit of money and injecting a bit of cash into Deagles.
Quick movement up here on towards the bomb site. No bomb to follow it with, though. I'm just going to push forward. And yeah, they've got an A-bomb control initially. Well, I say that, Yuri falls to Bolts.
And he somehow, some way is still alive. He's taken AK bullets. He's got shrapnel all over him. I think he's been burned by a Molotov. This guy is a cyborg. Meanwhile, Smoke's now going to be coming into fruition. He's going to allow Caserado to go for the bomb plant. That scared me because Art turned his back to the one area where Caserado was also vulnerable. I could foresee a double kill there from Luminosity and stopping the bomb plant. Fortunately for FURIA, he did turn around in the nick of time. It should be a formality at this stage, Vent. It's going to be so hard for Luminosity to crack back on the site, and I think they agree. They're going to be saving.
Yep. Steel still has light Kevlar to hold on to. Helps wants to hold on to that Deagle. And again, it's the same case scenario. If anyone from FURIA wants to go hunting, Luminosity are perfectly fine with that. But it seems like they've learned. I'm curious if Art's going to survive here with 22 HP. Yes, he will. Again, map knowledge coming into play there. Barely surviving.
So for those of you at home watching this, that was 14 damage he took. So keep that in mind. Kind of reminiscent of, you know, the Inferno pits.
Yeah.
We see players chill out there.
And
Of course, the dossier nade, that's pretty famous.
I mean, earlier today as well, in the first FURIA series versus E United, we saw Food saving an AWP on ramp on the lower bomb site, right?
Mm.
He lost 99 HP to the bomb. Not sure how planned that was, but again, dealing with the verticality of maps, obviously, like that position that Art gets into is the furthest away he can get from the bomb in a reasonable amount of time, right? If he tries to go towards the, I guess, elevator shaft area, he's going to be much closer to the actual point of explosion. There we have tactical pause for FURIA, actually. They've been doing so well, so maybe this is just to kind of reassure everyone that they know what they're doing going into the following buy round.
And they know that there's going to be a full buy coming through from Luminosity. And this is a crutch moment in this map. If they win this round, it's so likely they take map number 1.
It definitely is. And so far, it's been a shutout. Let's see if they can keep that going.
Double ops again.
Well, didn't work out on overpass yesterday. We'll see if this is a bit of a desperate move from Luminosity to get back into it. Phelps already been tagged down. 13 HP to his name.
They've left Steel alone on B site with the AUG.
All right, he's going to get some backup now. Phelps deciding to leave mid completely. Meanwhile, while they do that, Art's going to decide to drop out of B as well. Pick up a bomb. It's going to be Bolts to find the first kill, though. That's one of the A aggressors on FURIA down and out. Ooh, Henny misses the shot as well.
Needs to connect that, really, because now Caserado can move across to the side. This makes all the positions behind the ledge, behind the wall.
Mini Steel? And Steel just turns around for some reason. Okay, then. We'll definitely take those. Phelps is actually going to get activated as well, finds Able J. Now it's a massive task for Art. Bring this back for them. Caserado spotted out, but doesn't net a kill.
Oh.
Not going to be able to best Henny. It was looking pretty dicey there for a while.
Yeah, that's one of those 1v4s where you can definitely see how Caserado could pick it up, especially when he gets the first kill for clean. He doesn't lose any HP.
Yep.
If Henny goes down there, there's a second player that was actually very low with an AWP.
Yeah,
so you started to see all the pieces of the puzzle falling into place.
Absolutely. Well then, Luminosity finally break the deadlock and get themselves a CT-sided round. Now they need to go on a bit of a streak. You can see the rebuy is definitely going to cost them everything they had, more or less. Only Phelps sitting at any sort of real money here on the CT side. Full buy from FURIA.
Smokes to stall the push in the eyes of Art. All 5 players here. They're not going to be watching the back, and Able J is going to have to go back and have a quick look because it's so quick to rotate for Luminosity. If they decide to pull the trigger, go for that rotation, things could get so dicey. Vinny tagged down to 3 HP. The Molotov down there as well.
The setup on B is pretty unique from Luminosity as well. It's still playing that ledge, which allows them to have extra manpower over towards A.
It is raining grenades, and suddenly the pressure is being dialed up to 10 for Luminosity. They've lost Neckers. Although Able J, Caserado, Vinny are all low. They're somehow coming out top. Oh. Vinny burns Able J. That was so strange. It seemed to just extend at the worst possible moment at the end. And I think Vinny was going for the plant.
Yeah, he was.
A double whammy.
And bomb gets dropped. It rolls actually pretty close to the ice side of Henny. Oh, fires too early. And that's actually going to be the demise of Bolts. It's a bit of a mishap. Bomb, though, still going to be so hard to retrieve for FURIA. They're going to need to get Henny out of his position. Steel, very exposed. Not really sure what Luminosity are on about here.
They knew where Henny was. He was living on borrowed time at that stage. I honestly think, you know, when he shot a bit too early, I feel like that may be like a lack of map experience. Because there's certain angles that you can almost time how long it will take them to get around the corner. Yeah. And he just shot so early there compared to where the player was, especially when he was crouched. Yeah,
no, it was a bit of a weird one. I'm surprised by why Steel wanted to push forward. Again, they saw the bomb drop. So you can see Able J trying to plant here, and then the fire spreads. So that would have been spotted out at some point.
Bruh.
Yeah. It's just a weird one. Right into the action, though. In the following round, Neck is going to get the better of Art here to start us off. Ooh, nice followed up aggression as well.
This is more like it. This is the Luminosity that we were waiting to see on the CT side. Better late than never. FURIA, they had their chances to close this map out, you have to feel. Is Luminosity going to come back with some crazy plays to come back in this map? A few nades to play with still. Time on the side of FURIA. They're electing to go towards the B side of the map. Now Steel is perched up on the catwalk. This is a bit of a nuisance of an angle. When you come around here, Caserado has so many angles he needs to check before going for the catwalk peak. Steel, in the meanwhile, has all the cards in his favor, but still Caserado gets the kill on him. Henny's only got a Desert Eagle. Even getting one kill is quite surprising and huge for the rest of his teammates. He's thinned the herd out. Bolts double stacking, catches Able J unaware.
Clutch Graffiti is not going to be enough to pull them through for that one. With the back and forth we have right now, FURIA's economy is not going to be the greatest. There is room to purchase up here. Yeah, you can see it's going to be at the cost of utility for the most of them. Let's see if Luminosity can win up this round. Looking to potentially put a string of rounds together and making this a bit of a tighter contest for FURIA.
I've got to say, I'm pretty surprised thus far that FURIA haven't tried to aggress in mid a little bit more.
Yeah, we haven't seen any sort of attempts to mid-call. No. They've played actually the most cookie-cutter way that we've seen most teams play Vertigo, which is just heavy focus on A, throw out nades, plant while smokes are down, and just go with that.
It's some very basic flashbangs you can toss out the ceiling that just pop in the face of the CTs that are watching mid. You can really overrun it. And I thought with this kind of a purchase or lack of utility, we may see that come in, but instead it's back to A once more.
Flash perched up by Henny. So on the first point of contact from Nekis, here we go. That's the lineup. The flash actually doesn't do anything at all, though.
He landed too shallow. It landed on the wrong side of the crane, so they were all shielded from it.
Yeah. On the aggressive push. Well, that's Vinny one kill, but Henny's still there to stabilize. Right now, Bolts is making sure no backstabs come in from mid as well. That leaves Art alone with the bomb. Henny sticks around long enough to find it. So pretty clean around all things considered from Luminosity there. Nekis being able to find one frag, even though the flash isn't necessarily as good as it would have liked it to be. Definitely sets them up for a solid defense.
See the kill spread on FURIA, only 3. Yuri 18, Vinny 15, everyone's pulling their weight.
Yeah.
It's not exactly massive on Luminosity either. 3 players on 18, so
yeah, and
nothing to distinguish between the two teams.
And consider the fact that Hank started off the half with 3 frags, right?
True.
He's definitely been getting more into it, having much bigger impact. So everything trending upwards for Luminosity in that sense. Now they've actually strung 3 rounds together as well. In the last 4, it's back to pistols for FURIA.
Again, A. I really do wonder when we're going to see a mid-play. A grenade slightly the wrong side of the wall to do any considerable damage. Able J's charging through the Molotov. Good play from Henny. Stops the bomb plant 2 alongside Phelps, and Yuri can only sit by and watch idly as his teammates get massacred all around him. It was an eco, of course, so AK is coming up. And are we going to see a change of style? Maybe we're getting to that stage where a timeout would not be a bad idea.
Maybe we're going to see some more attention being brought over towards mid area, as you mentioned, and also alluded to in the pregame by the desk too. Right now, it's been very one-dimensional. Like, I guess the more interesting T side have come out of Luminosity to me. Obviously, FURIA has found success with what they've been doing, so no real necessity in actually changing things up. But now we're looking at 4 rounds for Luminosity in the last 5, so it might be time. Change things up, and Vinny's actually going to lose out the duel to an aggressor. That's Steel. He's been very actually far forward here on this A-bomb side a lot of the time.
Luminosity have FURIA's number at this point. It's one of the first times you've seen Nekis occupy sandbags. And because of their casualties elsewhere on the map, they felt compelled to go in aggressive. The bombs drop back at spawn. Caserado going to claim it.
Not a whole lot he can do in this situation.
Yeah, maybe just treat it as a mini timeout. Just have a discussion as to what's going to happen in the next round.
It's a tough one. Still doubled up towards mid, where Caserado is heading as well. problem for him is that he needs to obviously kill as much time as possible while still remaining somewhat safe. Likelihood of him winning anything out here is highly unlikely. Phelps gets caught out with an AK in an off position, or an AWP in an off position. Now it's down to 3.
Hold the phone for a second, Vendetta. He's got those 2 kills, only at the cost of 22 health. He's trying to fake as though it's a flashbang.
Neki saw that pistol and just reacted immediately.
There we go, up on the box. That's a brutal angle, by the way.
Yeah.
You got the forklift, you've got the right-hand side. Now I'm up on the box. Have fun trying to deal with me there.
Okay, Kisarado looked to be up to the task with those first 2 kills. But it does take an op out of the hands of Luminosity as well. We've seen Henny actually rocking out with the rifle over towards the A-bomb site, so it's going to have to be a reinvestment on Phelps. What's good news is that there's plenty of money on 3 other players on the side of Luminosity. It's only really Bolts and Phelps that are struggling a bit.
Towards B, they will move. The charge imminent for Nekis. The flashbang destroys him. And Able J will put the final nail in the coffin. Bolt's going to hold his ground with the Orc. The bomb has been planted. Vinny's going to try and fade away with a Desert Eagle. And Bolt's had no help whatsoever. No one was coming to lend him a helping hand. Vinny now going to try and take the initiative and push into the CTs. Does get found out by Henny. Still, time is dwindling away. They have kits, they have grenades. Art is playing a bit of an off angle you wouldn't anticipate. There's one. Phelps spins around on a swivel. Claims the headshot.
He doesn't have time.
Got enough time? I don't think he does, even though he's landed the shot. The round is going the way of Furia. They get it done with pistols and a straight-up simple B-rush.
Yeah, definitely tempo change, and obviously a change of sights from Furia, but that should never work out in a million years for them. I have no idea what goes on or what happens to Nekis in that situation. Fair enough, he gets flashed out, but he's literally standing in the open. I mean, again, general map awareness to figure out, or being able to kind of walk around and well, blindly, is something that every player gets used to eventually, but I guess this could be one of those cases where you haven't played the map enough, you don't know where you're positioning yourself properly when you get flashed out, because he was just the easiest target ever. Not even firing a single bullet, and well, that gives Furia confidence.
It's the same again. They're doubling down. It's another charge, but this time it's with increased firepower, SGs and an AK-47. They've got plenty of grenades to deal with this post-plant. And it's looking like it could be the curtain coming down on Vertigo for Luminosity. Yuri, close angle, SG pounces. He's going for the jugular. There is an AWP in the hands of Phelps, but he's missed his chance. And it's going to prove fatal for both him and potentially Henny, who is the last man standing. Will he realize there's a player between these generators? I don't think he has. Now it's cleared. No scopes him. Going to switch across to the SG. But there is a Molotov toss down the smoke to deal with it.
He didn't pick up the kit
But he
that was
doesn't
in
have a
front
kit.
of him.
Oh, and he has to go for the kill as a result.